All right, guys, welcome back to the cutting room floor. I am Dom,
I am Jamie.
and today we're going to be comparing two classic films that are pretty much staples in film history and definitely in the Western genre. Akira Kurosawa's Yojimbo and Sergio Leone's A Fistful of Dollars. Now, the reason we're comparing these two movies is because Fistful of Dollars is a direct remake of Yojimbo in a Western format. Guns instead of swords, cowboys instead of samurais. And we wanted to kind of take a look at what works for both of them and what may not work, and why certain things just seem to work better the first time around. So, how you want to kick this off? You want to start it with the original and talk a little bit about Yojimbo?
Yeah, I would say yes because one, it came out first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even if it was only 3 years, it still came out earlier. So Yojimbo,
Which is crazy though, because that just shows you how quick of an impact Yojimbo made.
yeah,
If he
yeah.
wanted to remake a movie that fast, he pretty much saw and was like, "I need to make a version of this myself."
Well, Sergio Leone, I think he kind of started out the same way Kurosawa did because I was reading about Kurosawa how he started out as like I'll say like a production assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So like an assistant director, like a screenwriter, and stuff before he actually went into directing. And I believe Sergio Leone did as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he must have had access. And granted, he was Italian or is Italian. So
Well, he's dead, so I
well,
guess
well,
it
he
was
he
the same
was he
word.
was Italian,
Yeah.
right? So he would have had more, I guess, more access to a film like Yojimbo being in Italy than we probably would have had over here at the time.
Yeah. We didn't get releases, international releases like that, real big ones back then. But even now we don't get many international releases here in theaters. They gotta be really big. They gotta be money making overseas and stuff like that. So yeah, it still sucks that we don't get access to international films like that unless you live in a major city. So yeah.
So I was thinking. So Yojimbo means bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
So is the Bodyguard a remake of Yojimbo? That's really the question that's been bugging me ever since I watched it. Just because it's
With
called.
Kevin and Whitney.
Yeah, yeah. Is that in a way would anything that has to do with a bodyguard sort of be influenced by Yojimbo and Akira Kurosawa and
I mean,
you know
maybe. I mean, there's so many, films like that now, where there's a guy protecting a girl, or
yeah.
the guy protecting the princess, or whatever. And I guess Kurosawa did kind of kick that off. I mean, even with Hidden Fortress, with the whole protecting the princess concept.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something to think about.
Yeah, I didn't think about it until just now. Although the bodyguard thing was in the back of my mind when I realized that Yojimbo meant bodyguard, because that's what I kept thinking. Like, okay, because you're reading the subtitles and they say it, and that's when you realize it. So Yojimbo. Should I just kind of do like the basic story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's kind of the beginning of. I wish I could actually read my handwriting because I hand wrote this for whatever reason, but I think it's the beginning of, I want to say like a roaming, like warrior, I'll say like trope
Mm-hmm.
in movies where Fistful is the same way, where it's like, sort of an unnamed character just kind of goes around and engages with other people in some way, shape, or form. So Yojimbo is 1860s Japan, and he's basically unnamed,
Mm-hmm.
and he is a Ronin or a Ronin, however you want to pronounce it.
It's Ronan.
Ronin,
Mm-hmm.
a samurai without a master,
Yep.
is what he is, and he goes into this town where the officials are corrupt because there's two warlords fighting, and they're making money off of the warlords fighting, like the officials, the town officials.
Mm-hmm.
The people in the town are suffering,
Yes.
and he sees this, so he does what he has to do in order to stop the fighting. Basically, that's the most basic way you can.
Yeah.
eh,
But it's one of those things where in order to do something bad or do something good, you have to do something bad. So
Yeah,
he does he plays some heavy instigation and flip flopping on sides and pinning these two against each other. But he does have a grand plan that he doesn't really reveal. Or does he? Or does he does this come along as he's seeing what's going on? I don't know if he went in there, saw what was happening, like, I'm gonna make some money and save this town, or if he was like, I'm gonna just make some money. And then as time went on, he's like, God, these people really need some help.
yeah,
I think when he sees Homeboy's son and his wife pretty much in captivity, he's like, something's gotta be done here.
yeah. I think that's what it is when he sees like he doesn't. I guess because you don't know his history, he. But since he is a warrior and a samurai, and whatever that entails, he's seen some stuff. He's
Mm-hmm.
seen probably some battles, some fighting, some skirmishes.
He's been in some too.
Yeah, yeah. You can tell in the film that he has some experience.
Yes, a lot.
So I think you're right when he sees the woman and how her family is split apart.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is probably the point where he turns, and I'll I'll liken it to something people might remember in Tombstone
Mm-hmm.
when I think Virgil, the older brother,
Mm-hmm.
sees like the outlaws or the cowboys going through town, and like I think that woman gets hurt, and the kids almost get run over by the horses. That's when he turns, and he's like, "We have to do something."
Yeah, and he was just like, he felt bad too because he's like, man, I'm making money off all these people, and they're out here scared to walk down the damn street.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, Virgil, he did same thing. They came in there, and they're like, all right, we're gonna chill, live life, make some money, and then they're like, darn it, we gotta do something about this. But Kurt Russell was like, look, man, I'm just trying to make some bread. I'm done with law enforcement, bro.
yeah,
Like, he's like, y'all two fools want to sign up and be sheriff, and look at them. One of them got killed, one of them lost an arm. Like,
yeah.
it don't always help to be a hero.
Well, that got me thinking too. Like with Yojimbo and Fistful and even Tombstone, like these heroes murder, like blatantly just
Oh,
murder
yeah.
people.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're violence.
Like in
Like
Yojimbo,
so much.
it's crazy because you don't see Toshiro Fumuni's character really do that much action, but the times he does, he kills at least 8 people at a time.
Yes,
So
yes,
it's not
yes.
like the whole movie you don't see him just running around slaying people, but when he slays, he does slay, which I think that made it a little better because there was this element of mystery around him. Like, how
Yeah.
good is he? We know he's good, but how good is he actually? And when he shows you that, you're like, okay, yeah, this dude's good.
Yeah, yeah, and he's playing both sides, so I think you said like he kind of flip flops.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough to know what his plan is until I guess maybe towards the end of the film.
Yeah, yeah. Until he gets captured.
Yes, yes, he does get captured.
Because you're like, all right, he said, all right, guys. Pretty much here's the deal. We can't break these films down without spoiling them a little bit. So if you haven't seen these, maybe pause this up, watch them, and then come back, or listen and see for yourself. Watch them and compare and contrast
Yeah.
and see if what you think we're saying is true. So I am gonna start spoiling stuff. So when he does rescue the chick, the husband, and the son, and kills the 6 guys and destroys the place, at that point, you at least know he's like, I'm gonna at least try and pin these two against each other. Hopefully they'll wipe each other out, and then maybe I can just slide on out the back door without anybody noticing. But then once he gets captured, it's like, oh, I need my revenge. He's like, I gotta. But at the same time, he's like, he's looking at the old man who took him in and fed him and gave him sake and put him up for however long he's there, at least a week at minimum.
Yeah.
So he put him up. He's thinking about him. He knows this dude is like, man, the destruction, like, it's too much. It's hurting my business. People don't want to come around. And then when he saves the dude and he leaves him the note, you know, the old guy, you saw the smile on his face. He knew how happy he was, and he knew, like, you know, I really did do something good. Maybe I should use my talents for good instead of evil.
And I guess I might have a few questions you might be able to help me with. So, like, at the end of the film, there's Yojimbo. We'll just call him
Yeah,
Yojimbo
we'll
because
just call him that.
there's him. There's like the casket maker
Mm-hmm.
and the guy. Was he kind of like a bartender? I guess maybe sort of.
The old guy.
Yeah.
He,
The
I guess he
Japanese
just
version.
had a restaurant with a bar in it. You know.
Oh yeah, because he
Kinda
did have
like
food.
Kind of like the Spanish guy from Fistful of Dollars,
Yes.
restaurant and bar type deal.
Yeah.
His obviously between the two films, things are so Yojimbo's in black and white, and the beautiful thing about Kurosawa's films, I was just telling Jamie before we even got started, is he creates these very believable, lived-in worlds that feel like these people are actually suffering. They feel like these are people who actually live here. They don't feel like actors. They feel like this guy grabbed people who lived in this little village and was like, I want you to be in my movie. And there's another director, an Indian director. He made the Apu trilogy. He's great with that too. If you're into the period piece films about specific places in the world, check out the Apu trilogy too, just to throw that out there. But Kurosawa's film, although it's in black and white, the details aren't great. You still feel this, what's going on in there, and you feel how these people are living. You can tell these people are scared and they really don't know what to do. And most of these people aren't fighters. Like, remember the scene when they first are standing off against each other, and we'll call him Yojimbo. He comes out and he runs to the one side and they all jump back like they're scared.
Yes,
He runs to the other side and they all do the same thing. I'm like, dude, it's like 40 of you versus one, and you guys are scared of one guy who you really don't know if he's even that good or not.
Yeah, they just assume at that point.
Yeah, they just assume this guy's that good.
Yeah.
And I mean, he did Obi-Wan Kenobi the one dude's arm off when he ran up on him. He killed the three guys, so they knew, okay, this guy is good. But he's outnumbered to the max. You know, you got the one freak guy who's got the pistol who that thing was pretty much just his arm at that point. I'm like, bro, this dude pulls his pistol out in every situation.
Yeah, he does.
But so that's the one thing. So the details are hard to see everything that's going on. But the old guy he was referring to, he does own a restaurant and bar type deal. And he takes in, even though he doesn't want to, he keeps telling them to leave, but he doesn't kick them out. So, but he does feed them and take care of them. And I think that compassion from him showed him, okay, everybody here isn't someone to be exploited, because that was his main goal, was to exploit these people.
Yeah. You mean Yojimbo's main goal?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right, because he went there, because it starts off with him stopping to get a drink of water, right?
He said, give
at
me
a well.
Some water, old man.
Yeah. So I guess that was his main motivation, was to make some money, make some quick cash, and split. Yeah.
I don't care what happens to these people.
But like, by saving the town, he like almost ensured that it seemed like everybody except for the casket maker and the old guy were dead.
We're dead, yeah. Because remember when he's walking out, there's just bodies everywhere. I'm like, I'm like, how many survive? Like, population 6.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, but and these old guys, everyone's too old to repopulate. So I'm like,
and who's going to pay for the caskets?
Yeah, this guy's out of a job now because I mean, no one's going to pay for him. I'm like, well, they're just going to lay there until they decay into the earth.
Yeah.
So that's a good point, though.
Yeah, because I was like, who's left in this town? Nobody.
I didn't even think about it. I'm like, there was literally like 4 people left, and I'm like, I think that is the rest of the town. He might as well live there too. Find a young wife and
because
start repopulating.
Both of the families, the warlords, both their groups, they ended up killing each other.
Yeah.
Whoever he didn't kill, they killed each other.
They killed each other.
Yeah.
And the brother of the one warlord, I think his name was Umarachi, the heavier guy with the
Oh my
freaky hair.
god! And the
Dude.
unibrow,
Yes, bro.
and like the overbite.
Yes.
He was a terrible caricature. If you think about it, he looked like something out of like Speed Racer, right? It was terrible.
When I was rewatching it again for this, he
Yeah.
just kept making me laugh
Yes.
every time he came on screen. Because he's actually a really good actor. He's in quite a few Kurosawa films. And he's in a
Does
bunch
he
of
always
other
have a unibrow?
No.
Oh, thank God! I'm
Really?
glad that was makeup. That's all I can say.
He's in a really good film called A Woman Ascends to the Stairs. It's a 60s movie. And yo, he's in there suited and booted, buttoned up, looking clean and
Really?
fly. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, look at my man's looking good because he was looking terrible and everything else.
Yeah, wow.
He was so funny, man. He just made me laugh so much. Like, that's one thing I appreciated about Yojimbo a lot more than Fistful of Dollars. It actually, most of Kurosawa's films have a nice element of humor to them. They are funny. Like Seven Samurai is hilarious. Like Hidden Fortress is hilarious. Like even Rashomon, even though it's a serious movie, it still has its parts that are funny. Now, of course, he has his films where you just cry and you just are like, I feel awful at the end. But he does have some light ones. And I think this was one of his more fun ones, even though, it does have some serious consequences in the end. A lot of innocent people die. But it is funny. And one thing that Fistful of Dollars just didn't do for me, it didn't replicate these characters well enough for me to believe they were convincing. Even the foolish guy with the pistol. So in a Fistful of Dollars,
everyone has a pistol.
Yeah, everyone has a pistol. So
yeah,
the guy who was supposed to be him, he didn't really stand out much to me. He just seemed like a dude who wants to be hard, but isn't that hard. Even though the guy with the pistol in Yojimbo, without his gun, he was nothing. He still came off like, yo, I'll kill anybody in my way.
Although in Fistful, since everyone did have guns anyway, when they first show the analog of that character, he's mowing people down with like a Gatling gun.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, like, so it's showing. I guess that showed like his, the one step higher.
Yeah, like the rank up. I'm the lieutenant. Essentially. Yeah, he was. That character in Fistful of Dollars, he got on my nerves. Honestly, almost every character in that film got on my nerves except Clint and the barkeep. Like,
I was gonna say the barkeep was really.
He was the coolest one.
Yeah,
really,
because he's just like, sure, let's go.
Yeah, Clint's Clint. I love Clint. Like, Clint's always gonna be Clint, man. Even at 94, he's still Clint, man. He plays himself so well that it feels like he's a really great actor.
You know what? Yes, I can see what you mean.
Like, think about it. Think about all his best movies. He doesn't play very diverse characters.
No, he's
a version of Clint in a situation.
Yes.
But he adapts himself to that situation probably better than anyone else who plays himself in most movies.
Because I'm thinking of like Heartbreak Ridge, obviously the Dirty Harry movies.
Oh, great.
Firefox. God, Pink Cadillac even.
I never saw that.
Really?
Is that good?
Yeah, I mean, I think it came out like 86 or something.
Right?
So,
yeah.
It's like in the mid 80s there, he was, in between Dirty Harry movies, he was just doing stuff that wasn't bad. Oh, Every Which Way But Loose. Every Which Way You Can. Him and the orangutan.
Yes. Oh,
Clyde.
yes. Those are pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
I
Like,
did see those.
And you're right, because even when he's in a film that's funnier, he is still Clint Eastwood, just funnier.
Dry, still, he's a very dry delivery guy, no matter what. Even when he's getting exclamatory, still dry.
Yes,
But that's him. It works for him. It's smooth. It works. Like The Man with No Name is the same in all three films. He acts the same. He looks the same. He does the same thing. He's pretty much all his westerns. He's the same type of dude. Even in Pale Rider, when he's supposed to be a priest, he's still Clint Eastwood wearing a priest costume. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So but Yojimbo, what Kurosawa was able to do, took a simple story. Guy comes to town, wants to make some money, pins two groups of people against each other, and essentially saves the town. That's the story in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
And as simple as that is, he added so much depth to it with how well he wrote in the dialogue between each other. You really felt what was going on was important to these people, and these people were desperate. These people were coming to this man, offering him whatever money he wanted. And he's like, I want half up front, half after. All right, I'll pay you 20 Creole. Nope. 25. Nope. 30. No. All right, I'll give you 50. They were willing to give this man anything, which just shows you the desperation of these people and how bad they wanted the power to take over, but not necessarily because these people were evil, because they knew it was necessary for their people to survive. And the way times were back then, that's what life was. Life was survival. It wasn't like it is now where we go out and have fun and go work what jobs we want and make the kind of money we want. You made the kind of money you could. You ate what you could. You did what you could. You lived where you could. And if you weren't born into the right situation, bro, you had to scrape just like everyone else. So Akira really grabs that concept really well with this film and makes you feel that, where I think that lacks in A Fistful of Dollars. It doesn't feel as dire, it doesn't feel as urgent as it does in Yojimbo.
Do you think it's because Yojimbo takes place in Japan, everyone is Japanese, whereas Fistful of Dollars is supposed to take place in Mexico, and Clint Eastwood is, the gringo who's over the border, blah, 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 blah. So do you think that's why there's a bit of a disconnect?
That's probably it. That might really be it. I didn't even think about why the disconnect is there, but that probably is it. And I just think, like, even though Fistful of Dollars was take place like early 1900s.
It's actually, believe it or not,
18.
I was looking. There's a tombstone in there that actually says 1873
73?
is when the person died. So it takes place after that.
Okay, so we'll say 1880 then.
Yeah.
Which, okay, that's, I mean, you're getting closer to more civilized times, but it's still wild. It's still crazy. There's still a lot going on in the world that would affect how people are living. But I feel like the film didn't reflect that well enough. It didn't feel like, because I mean, this was pretty much post-war. There's still a lot of war going on in the world. People still aren't free. People are still getting killed over land left and right. So this is still a bad time to live in, but it didn't feel like that. It feel like people were kind of just chilling in Fistful of Dollars. They're like, yeah, these guys are bad and everything, but we're still eating and getting drunk every day. Yeah. So what's good?
Yeah, and like, why was he in Mexico? Like, they never really go into, like, I know the bartender calls him Joe, or no, I'm sorry, the casket maker keeps calling him Joe. So I'm just going to call him Joe.
Yeah, we'll call him Joe.
So Joe, like, is he an ex-soldier? Because he looks old enough to have probably been in the Civil War.
He has to be.
And so he had to have some kind of experience, or at least something in the Wild West, in order to be able to survive as long as he has, and where he's going. To go there without fear, I guess.
Yeah. It's gotta be, and just knowing Sergio Leone, he definitely likes to have the Civil War in the backdrop of a lot of his westerns, so that makes sense, and he probably is. But it's like, you do wonder, what the hell are you doing here, bruh?
Yeah.
Like, what business do you have here? Where in Yojimbo, obviously, like you said, everyone's Japanese, so he's probably lost his temple, lost his master to war. Yeah. And this is probably the only option he has to use his skill set to make money. Whereas Clint could probably go back to America and get a job.
Yeah, I'm sure he could.
Yeah.
Unless he's like...
unless he's on the run for something crazy, which he could be.
Yeah, you don't know.
He feels real calm to be on the run, though.
But it seems almost like... I want to say like a redemption story, because as I was watching it, I was listening. So, both films have the woman that's taken away from her husband and son and held captive by one warlord or another, and blah, blah, blah. And in Fistful, the woman's name is Marisol,
Mm-hmm.
which is just a form of Mary, and her son's name is Jesus, which is obviously just Jesus.
Jesus.
So Joseph ends up saving Mary and Jesus.
Oh, jeez. Look at you connecting some big dots.
Look, you can tell that Sergio Leone is obviously a Roman Catholic.
And like he's
if he's
Catholic man.
Because
I think it's, I don't like to assume, but in this case, you're probably correct.
Because it's almost too literal to not be something like, it almost canonizes him in a way, like makes him a saint because he saves, at least two people who are named after, like, the two most important people in the
biblical characters.
Yeah. So
he's the shepherd.
Yeah, he is.
Wow. I never even thought about that. That gives it a little more flavor.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, it throws some salt on the dish. I don't know. I never thought about that. I like that. That's probably legit, especially knowing who the director is, and he probably did look at it that way. And I wonder if he looked at Toshiro's character in Yojimbo that same way. And because I mean,
who's the most famous mother and son, right?
Yeah,
maybe that's why.
Because I'm like, I don't know what religion Kurosawa practices or what religions were based around there. I think Shintoism was probably the one, which I have zero knowledge of, so I'm not even going to act like I know anything about it. But I will say, if you think about it in terms of, what most people might practice here in America, Christianity, you can look at Toshiro's character almost like a Jesus-like figure who sacrifices himself to save this town, essentially, for their sins. But just like when he does save them and he's like, all right, get the hell out of here, they stay and they keep bowing to this man's
They do,
feet.
you're right. You're right.
And I think that's just a custom over in Japan, because I've seen that in a lot of Japanese movies, that the heavy bowing. It's
respect, right?
Yeah,
it's
very
just
respectful. And I'm like, you guys are making me very angry not leaving. I'm ready to chop your heads off because you're going to get me killed.
Yeah. And they end up causing him to get captured anyway.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, why you leave me a note?
Yeah.
The barkeep shouldn't have moved the note because he wasn't even looking at the note. And the note was just sitting there.
He was pretty slick, though, about it.
He was like, no, he slammed his hand on that table so hard.
I thought he moved something on top of it.
No, he didn't. He tried to grab it. So he went to grab the cup to give him a refill, and then he grabbed the note, too.
Okay.
When I saw it, I was like, he should just put the cup on top of it.
That's what I thought he did. But
he was being goofy.
Well, he could have been drunk.
He would no.
You never know.
Like the barkeep was sober all the time.
Maybe
too damn scared to get drunk. He's like, bro, I get drunk, I'll get killed.
That's true. That's like, very true.
I know. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, I live in bad neighborhoods, so I don't like to get messed up because I'm scared something's gonna happen to me.
And that one family had that one guy that was like a beast.
Dude, he was like 8 foot tall, bro.
It was crazy. And he was Japanese.
Yeah, man. And there's a lot of crazy Japanese people they get big like that.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Rush Hour 3?
I have not.
Bro, there's a dude in there like 8 foot tall. I don't know if he was Japanese. I don't know exactly what country he was from, but he was an Asian guy and he was huge, man.
Wow.
You've seen one of my questions for today, one of the movie release years. Have you seen Enter the Dragon?
I have, and I was disappointed it wasn't Donkey from Shrek's honeymoon video. I expected something different.
Yeah, man. I know you got it at the back of the video store. So
yes. You had to go into that room and
you went into the room
through the
with
beaded
the curtains.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we all remember our first time taking a step back there.
Enter the Dragon, man. That's a great film.
It's a great film. You know what? That's perfect. Let's roll into the intermission. We've been yapping for about half an hour. Let's roll into the intermission.
Okay.
And then we can jump a little more into a fistful of dollars after that. So we talked a good amount about Yojimbo. So we'll do this. I'll hit you with your 3 multiple choice. You can hit me with your 3 multiple choice.
Okay.
And I'll hit you with my 3 years. And you give me your 3 years. All right. Now try to keep these related to at least something that we're talking about today. So, first question. Who starred in Sergio Leone's Once Upon a Time in the West? I'm giving you 4 choices.
Okay.
A. Charles Bronson. B. Jimmy Stewart. C. Clint Eastwood. Or D. Lee Van Cleef.
I want to, believe it or not, I want to say Lee Van Cleef, but
Don't
not
let my face influence you.
when you said Charles Bronson. Maybe Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson.
Wow.
There
Wow.
you go. Harmonica.
Wow.
Great film. Great Western.
Because there were 3 Once Upon a Time films, weren't there?
There's Once Upon a Time in the West, Once Upon a Time in America, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And there might be more.
Because I was reading a little bit about his, more popular films,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't say who starred in it, unfortunately.
Yeah,
But it was like the Once Upon a Time trilogy.
Yeah, he Once Upon a Time in America is the one I want you to watch.
Okay.
That's Robert De Niro and James Woods.
Mm.
That's a good one. That movie's crazy, bro. When I first watched that, I was looking at De Niro kind of funny for like a week after that, bro. So
Really?
I had to watch A Bronx Tale to put him back in a good light for me.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of fucking crazy in Once Upon a Time in America, bro. He's a beast. So you got so here's the next one. What was the man with no name's nickname in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
Oh my God.
Do you know it? Well, we got 4 choices.
Okay,
So it might
okay.
ding in your head.
Okay.
A. Whitey. B. Slick. C. Blondie. Or D. Honey.
I can honestly tell you I don't know.
Oh man!
So it's gonna be. For some reason, I want to say Whitey, only because he would have been probably one of 2 white guys in the film, right? Maybe.
I mean, he's one of the it does take place in the Civil War, so you do see some white guys, but I mean the main character is him. And you got Eli Wallach, who's Mexican, and Lee Van Cleef, who's I think he's full-blood Italian or something, man. He's dark. He's a dark-skinned guy. I'm not sure what he is, but yeah, so he's the whitest guy in the movie for sure.
So I'll say Slick. I don't know.
That is incorrect. It is C. Blondie.
Blondie, really?
Blondie.
He's not blonde, is he?
Not really. He's like a sandy blonde, I guess, or a dirty blonde.
Okay.
But yeah, he's not a blonde for sure. You wouldn't look at him and think, look at that blonde hair guy. That's
that's what. Wow.
All right.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
All right, this one's pretty easy. I was like, give me an easy one. Which isn't a remake of The Seven Samurai? A. The Magnificent Seven. B. A Bug's Life. Or C. The Hateful Eight.
I would hope it's A Bug's Life. If that's a remake of The Magnificent Seven, The Seven Samurai, I'll be amazed. A Bug's Life.
You are incorrect. A Bug's Life is a remake of The Seven Samurai.
Are you kidding me?
No.
How? How is it?
It's the exact same concept. Flick, the guy, goes to the town, finds 7 bugs to come protect him from hoppers stealing the grain for the.
Oh my God, you're right.
Live. It's the exact same story with bugs.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bugs Life probably made the best remake of it.
Wow.
So the Hateful Eight would be the correct answer.
Yes, that would be the one that is not.
Yep.
Oh my God, I can't believe it.
Crazy?
That is insane. That is frustrating.
What just happened to my note? Oh, there we go. All right, you can give me your questions.
Okay, I gotta figure this out because I don't think I put multiple choices here. So I gotta
I'll see. I could test my straight knowledge.
Okay, if you want to.
I mean, why not?
You might be this good. That's why
I might not be though.
I have confidence in you.
Let's see.
How many films did Mifune and Kurosawa make together?
Okay.
If you want multiple choice, I can give you multiple choice.
No, that'll probably make it harder, actually.
Okay.
Let me run through a couple of them. I can think of 6 right now. Seven Samurai, Throne of Blood, Redbeard, Yojimbo, Rashomon, The High and the Low. I'm probably missing at least 2. I'm gonna say 8.
Do you want multiple choice?
Is it 11?
Do you want multiple choice, or do you want me just to tell you?
Just tell me.
16.
16?
They did 16 films together.
God, that's a lot.
Yes.
They went hard.
They
were
did.
The real dynamic. They were the real dynamic duo.
Now,
God, that's a lot.
what is the first Yakuza film?
First one he ever did?
The first. I'll tell you, it's a Kurosawa film that is considered the first Yakuza film, where an early role that our man Yojimbo played was as a Yakuza, a gangster, and it popularized that form.
Ooh, that's hard.
I can give you multiple choice.
Do you have multiple choice?
I will if you give me a second, because I know the actual answer. So I just need a couple more here.
Popularized the gangsters.
Yes. Now, I don't know if you know the year it came out.
I have to know the film, which I don't.
Okay. So I just gotta
I
get.
feel like you're gonna say it, and I'm gonna be freaking pissed.
You might not be. You
I hope
might
not. I hope I'm shocked and surprised. I hope it's not something that went through my head.
Okay. All right. So, is it Sanshiro Sugata? Is it One Wonderful Sunday? Is it Scandal? Or is it Drunken Angel?
Is it One Wonderful Sunday?
It is Drunken Angel.
Damn. Drunken Angel.
Drunken Angel.
I have to watch that. Maybe we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah, because apparently it's one of his early roles in a Kurosawa film. Might be even his first role in a Kurosawa film, and he like stole the show.
That's what he does
as a gangster.
He's a scene stealer.
Yeah. Now, the follow up would be: do you know what year that came out? Do you know what year your film Rashomon came out?
That's like, what, 50?
Yes.
So it's before that.
Yes.
I was thinking 40s. I was going to say 47.
48.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's close. That's what I was like, it's got to be like late 40s. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, because I was like, oh, hell, did I even think about Rashomon? I was thinking about the collapse. All right, I'll hit you with the years.
Well, wait, I have one more question.
Oh, okay.
One more question. What is one other film that is credited as a remake of Yojimbo? It's actually credited as a remake of Yojimbo.
Give me a year.
1996.
Okay. 96.
I can even give you a director if you want.
Ooh, that would probably help a lot.
Walter Hill.
That didn't help at all.
Do you want an actor?
Nah, it's too many hints.
Okay.
I gotta just think about what came out in 96.
Yeah. It's probably a film that didn't do well. Because Walter Hill's career, he's the guy who did like 48 Hours and stuff. And I think he might have produced some of Tales from the Crypt when that was on.
Oh, that was a great show.
Yeah. But, it was kind of, he was obviously still doing films, but not like 48 Hours. It was more.
Does it have a big star in it?
At the time, yes. Actually, kind of still. Now, he'd still be considered a big star.
I don't know, bro. Super stumped.
Last Man Standing with Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis.
Yes. That is a credited remake of Yojimbo. Yeah.
Wow. I have to watch that again. I haven't seen that in probably 20 years.
Yeah, I'm assuming that the storyline, was...
It's got to line up. I might have to watch it. Isn't that nuts? So that's like 40 years later, and they're still remaking
Yeah,
Kurosawa films.
because I think that film is like it looks like it takes place like in the 30s though.
Okay.
But I guess it's the same basic story of like
That film wouldn't. That concept wouldn't work in a modern setting.
no, not at all, not at
Yeah,
all.
it wouldn't
Because
work.
it's like corrupt officials who are allowing criminals to do their thing.
Yeah,
That's the basic plot, but you can put it into those eras, easily.
Any old school time period where war was present, and
Yeah.
people were just
Now we
getting
just kind of let it happen. We
because
because we're not as affected by
You
it.
might go to jail or you might not.
Yeah.
That's what
So,
it is.
all right, I'm
All
sorry.
right,
Go
so
ahead.
let me hit you with some years.
Okay.
All right, since we're on westerns, Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood.
1992.
Correct. We already talked about this. Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee.
I want to say 73.
Damn, you're good, man.
Yes.
I gotta throw a Kurosawa film in here. A new Kurosawa film. Ran. Ran.
Is it like towards the end of his career?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint. He was 75 when it came out.
He was 75, so he was born in 1910, so it came out in 85.
Damn. Slicker than
Wow.
oil. Look at you.
Wow.
Clean sweep.
Wow.
There you go. You should watch Ron. It's great. It's and the ending is like so good. But I'm pretty sure that the one chick's brother in it is a puppet. I don't care what, bro. He looks like a puppet. Like, let me try and pull him up real quick.
Like a Jim Henson Muppet kind of
yes,
puppet?
Yes,
Yeah,
just
okay.
like that. Like,
Okay.
remember Dark Crystal?
Yeah.
Remember the guy, the dude, the main dude. I don't remember his damn name. The puppet guy.
Yeah.
He looks like that. Like the way he moves, it's so weird. Hold on, I gotta bring up. What is his freaking name? Anyway, go ahead and you can hit me with your years while I'm looking.
Okay, so along the lines and the theme of westerns, I think one of the first western films was The Great Train Robbery.
Mm-hmm.
What year did that come out? And I mean the one for the Edison Company, because there was another one later on with like Sean Connery, I think. The early film.
It's gotta be like 38 or something like that.
It's an early film.
Even early. It's silent.
It is.
Watch it. It's silent. So I'm gonna say 26.
1903.
Holy hell!
Yes.
Is it really that old? That's
Yeah.
the one when they're cranking the little joints right on the train.
Yeah, I believe so. And they're
Dang.
and
Is
like
that
sometimes depending on which one you see, some of it's in color because they like hand tinted the frames. Depending.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah, there's a million versions of that though, right?
Well,
haven't they remade that movie a few times?
I don't know if they remade that one, or I know there's another Great Train Robbery. I think it's like Donald Sutherland and Sean Connery, and it's literally about these guys robbing a train, but it took place, I think, in the 60s. So the film is from the 70s. Maybe it's Michael Caine. I'm not sure.
Michael Caine.
All right. What year was Kurosawa's first film as a director released? And that's Senshiro Sugata is the name of the film.
1941.
43.
Damn it.
I'm sorry.
I was like, it's gotta be 41, 2 or 3.
Alrighty, now.
Is that the what do you have? You only had 2?
No, I have another one, but there might be a little setup for it.
Tell me this guy doesn't look like a puppet standing there.
Oh my
Does that
God,
look
yeah.
like a human? Right?
No, it doesn't.
When you see him walk from behind, his ass is like really square.
Wow.
It's like, it's strange, bro. Like, only one scene does he look human.
Yeah.
I think they used a guy and he's playing a flute, but the whole rest of the movie, he looks like a freaking puppet. It was just throwing me off. But anywho, all right.
Okay, so my question is, it's a year of a film, okay, but I have to do a little backstory. There was a film and a book that actually inspired Yojimbo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the book and the film are both called The Glass Key, and they're by Dashiell Hammett, the guy who did The Maltese Falcon.
Oh, great film.
So
Never read the book.
the book came out in 1931.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the basic story of a guy who worked for something like the Pinkerton Agency, and he's investigating corruption in the town.
Mm-hmm.
So the same basic story. So what year did the film The Glass Key come out?
1936.
1942.
Oh man, newer than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Never seen that.
Apparently
Have you
that
seen it?
I have not. I only just found out about it today.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, wait, Yojimbo, because Kurosawa has said, like, this book and this film influenced, the story of Yojimbo.
Okay, maybe I'll have to check out The Glass Key. It's
Yeah.
probably not as good, but I'll.
Oh, I doubt it's as good.
I'll check
I mean,
it
Hammett
out.
was a good writer, don't get me wrong. Like, he pretty much created, like, noir. And those
that's
detective
one of the best
stories.
genres.
Yeah.
It's great.
But, in his writing, I should say, he created it. All right. Do you have any streaming recommendations?
Oh man. So I've been thinking about it, and I had a couple I was looking at. So every week I usually watch on Wednesday nights. I usually watch a handful of films. I was not impressed by the films I chose to watch this week outside of Southpaw, which I'm not gonna recommend that to you because that's a pretty popular film. I gotta give you some that you gotta sink your teeth into. Oh, fun fact: True Lies does not hold up all these years later, except Jamie Lee in the hotel.
Okay.
That held up very well.
Okay.
but True Lies, man,
terrible.
It wasn't great. It's not terrible, but it definitely. I'm like, this was better when I was 10.
Yeah. I mean, it's a decent kind of like, I'll say like a spy movie.
Yeah, spy.
Like, I'm an American spy. Yeah, it's just, it doesn't make any sense.
Film.
But with Schwarzenegger, it makes no sense. If it probably would have made more sense with Tom Arnold in the lead.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds terrible to say.
But yeah, because he's American.
Yeah.
He played a good role.
And you had Charlton Heston as like the comic book accurate Nick Fury guy with the eye patch.
Oh yeah.
So you could tell James Cameron was, at least a fan of S.H.I.E.L.D., if nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
S.H.I.E.L.D. I guess he was reading comics, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
He's a nerd.
Because he was supposed to do a Spider-Man movie at one point. So
he was.
He's
a freaking nerd.
Yeah.
All right, streaming recommendations.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to recommend on Freevee Redline. It's an anime movie about racing cars, and it's tight.
Oh.
It's just a fun action racing movie that you can just have a good time with and chuckle at and all this. Everything else I've watched has been either not through conventional streaming, we'll say that, or I actually own on Blu-ray. So I haven't been watching much stuff on actual streaming services the past couple weeks. So I apologize, but I will recommend going to see the Mario movie. Did you watch it?
Not yet, no.
It's great. It's so fun and silly. It was great, and Jack Black is amazing.
I've wanted to play it. I've actually been playing the original Super Mario Brothers over and over again.
One of the best games of all time.
Because I'm just obsessed with playing it.
It's so good. It's one of the best games ever made.
Yeah.
It's Super Mario World for Super NES. I put so many hours in that game as a kid. It's not even funny.
I just found one. It's the Lost Levels.
Oh, man.
And that's what I've been playing, and I am stuck.
You're stuck.
And it's levels that are like 40 years old.
It doesn't matter. If it's good, it's good. There's a reason people are still watching the OG trilogy, man.
That's true, yeah.
When stuff's good, it's good. All right, so what you got for streaming?
I was thinking about this. I was on a Gary Trudeau kick a couple weeks ago. The guy who does the comic strip Doonesbury, which I love. Mm-hmm. And I started watching Tanner 88 again. That
the one you gave me.
Yes,
I still gotta watch it.
It's on HBO Max.
Oh, it's maxed out now.
Yeah. Okay. It's from 1988. It's about a candidate running for president for the Democratic nomination, and he's fake. but it follows him, and the series wasn't like a weekly series. Like they would film it during whatever stops there were on the campaign trail, and then just air it.
That's
So
kind of tight.
yeah, so there's like 10 or 11 episodes in the series, directed by Robert
I
Altman.
was like, it's Bobby Altman.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
written by Gary Trudeau, starring Michael Murphy, who's a really good actor because he has that look. I'll say like the John or the Bobby Kennedy kind of look.
Yeah, that slick, classic, handsome.
Yes, and he kind of pulls off the politics part of it pretty well because he's a senator who's running, and his daughter is played by Cynthia Nixon, who's Miranda from Sex and the City.
Oh,
but it's like obviously before Sex and the City.
I was like, this is before that. She was kind of young. Huh?
Yeah, she's probably like 20, maybe.
Yeah, I was like, she's kind of young.
And it's interesting to see how the political machine works or worked because it's like 35 years ago now, but how it still seems similar today because it's all like the inside stuff of his campaign and how they're trying to get him the nomination and going to different places and trying to like focus groups and everything. It's actually really incredible. And the way that Robert Altman directs it, it's like a documentary. So you almost feel like some of the people that were filmed didn't know that he wasn't a real candidate.
Wow.
So they're talking to him as if like he's really running. Yeah. And about real issues. So there's a lot of really great scenes in it where people say from their heart what they want from a politician and from a candidate, which you don't usually hear or see. And it's just probably one of the best things Robert Altman ever did.
Well, dude, he's always been great with that kind of documentary style of filmmaking. Like if you watch Nashville feels like a documentary. Like it feels like somebody's just going around this town and like checking on the people and the musicians and how it affects everything. So Robert Altman's always been just a genius with that. We're gonna have to do a Robert Altman episode because
I love MASH.
MASH is great.
Yeah,
that's one of his. I love like Three Women, bro. Sissy Spacek and Shelley Duvall. One of my favorites of all time.
You're a Sissy Spacek fan,
I
though.
Love her, bro.
Yeah,
I love Sissy, bro. Sissy's she's the best, man. Even now, I still love her now. Even though she don't rock the red hair no more, it's okay.
Well,
guys, I'm a redhead fan, so just if you ever hear me talk about certain actresses, like if I bring up the 3 J's, you'll learn who they are over time. I won't reveal them now, but they will learn who the 3 J's are. Jamie knows who they are, and no, Jamie isn't one of them.
No, that is very true. I am not.
So, all right, cool. So let's get into
Fistful.
Fistful of Dollars, directed by Sergio Leone, starring Clint Eastwood. A spaghetti western, which is a direct remake of Yojimbo, the film we were talking about before the intermission. This is a good movie. And if you heard what I was saying before, it probably sounds like I don't like it. That's not true at all. I actually think it's a great film. I have this on Blu-ray as well, but I also have Yojimbo. And this is a film that I do think, as far as remakes go, if you look at the remakes that are coming out today versus Fistful, it's miles ahead of most of the stuff we get today. So it's just Yojimbo is on such a level that it's one of those properties there. It's like, maybe you shouldn't try and do it because whatever you do is always going to be compared to it.
You know what? I agree because it's so similar. If they would have changed more, it would have been better, but it's so similar. It's almost like when Gus Van Sant did that shot-for-shot remake of Psycho. Like, why bother? Just colorize Psycho.
Yeah. Just
if you want Psycho in color, colorize it. That's all you have to do. Ted Turner, just call him up. Be like, I want to colorize this, buddy.
Like, how much?
And I think that's the problem with it because even though it's Mexico instead of Japan and guns instead of swords, so many of the story beats are exactly the same that it's infuriating if you just watched
Yeah,
Yojimbo.
bro, that's what I'm like.
Yes,
When
that's
you
the problem. When you watch them back to back.
yes, I'm like, if you
Yes.
watch them back to back, you're like, oh my god, it really is that movie. Because I'm trying to remember which one I saw. I actually might have saw a Fistful of Dollars before I saw Yojimbo when I first watched them. And when I saw Yojimbo, I was like, bro, Sergio Leone owed Kurosawa some money, bro. I was
Yeah, and he
like,
did get
what?
sued.
Yeah,
And he
yeah,
won. Like
yeah.
Kurosawa won.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that. So yeah, so this film, it's such a remake that Kurosawa and his people felt like they were entitled to some money. So they sued Sergio Leone for his movie and won. And
Yes.
if you watch the two films, you can't tell me that they didn't deserve to win. I mean, sure, would it seem like maybe it's unethical or something like that? You might say that being the consumer, but if you put your heart, soul, and money into something and then somebody
Yeah.
else comes along and makes the same thing, because you know Fistful of Dollars made more money than Yojimbo. So
Yeah.
this dude got paid off of something you made and made better, and you're sitting there like, oh, so that's how it goes, huh? And like Jamie just said, I think he needed to change a little bit more with the story. Like he could have did something as simple as just adding another protagonist. It could have been two main characters.
Yeah.
Like, and that would have just gave it some edge. But the fact that it's literally guy rolls into an unknown town. There's two sides that are against each other. He literally, they call him out. He doesn't do anything. They think he's soft. He has to come out, show he's not. Then everyone's intrigued, and he goes and gets hired by one. Then he leaves and goes and work for the other. It's literally, like you said, beat for beat, it's the same story.
Yeah. Yeah, he even gets captured.
Yep, gets captured.
Breaks
gets his ass
out.
beat a little bit. I mean, he changed that a little
Yeah,
bit.
a little bit.
Instead of one guy beating his ass, he had like 6.
Yeah.
And Sergio...
Well, that's because it was Clint Eastwood.
It was Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
And Sergio loves to make Clint Eastwood look really ugly in his films because he beat his face so bad in Fistful of Dollars. I was like, oh, he made him look terrible. And if you watch Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, oh my Lord, this man leaves him in the desert with no water. His face is like a crusty pile of dirt. It was crazy. So... yeah, I mean, slight changes, but the exact scenario is the same. He goes in, shoots all the guys, destroys the place, makes it look like the other people did it. Then they catch him, beat his ass, capture him. He has to escape free with the coffin maker. It's all the same.
Yeah. I think it's more guys beating him in Fistful because Yojimbo had that huge monster beating the hell out of him. Yeah, and that guy's the equivalent of like 5 guys.
He is. And there's even a part
fries.
when the big guy's talking to one of the smaller guys, and the small guy says something dumb, and he like lightly hits him on the head, and he's like, bro, your tap feels like another dude's punch. So yeah, he's got this big monster in there. That guy was freaking huge, man.
But yeah, I think the only things that were really changed were guns for swords. And because there's guns, he wears that like bulletproof vest at the end.
Yeah, at the end. Yeah, he has
so he can keep getting up when the guy's shooting him.
Yeah, he does. That was one thing they changed. You know, they didn't. Yeah. You know, maybe if Toshiro had some chainmail he could have put on or something. I don't know
because I think Yojimbo takes place in the 1860s in Japan, so there might have been chainmail somewhere.
This might have been laying around. No one could afford it.
Yeah,
but, you know, it was probably laying around. But yeah, it's Fistful of Dollars though. I'll put it like this: if you watch it and you've never seen Yojimbo, you'll think it's great. You'll be like, "Oh, this was a good movie," because there is some good action in it. Like, there's some. First of all, the score is awesome. The score for both of them is awesome. Actually, I really like the score for Yojimbo too, but the score for Fistful of Dollars is great. And I think Leone, I can't remember the guy he collabs with for most of his westerns, but that they make magic together. He knows exactly how to score his pictures.
Is it Morricone or something?
I think that's who it is.
Yeah.
They've made some magic together. And that score is really unique, and I think that's one of the better elements of the film. And I mean, for when it came out, it's still a '60s movie. It looks great. The cinematography's decent. You know, it's got good action. The shootouts are fun. Clint's Clint. He's slick as oil as usual. If you like Clint Eastwood, you'll like this movie. The concept is just the same, but it is not a bad film, and it's not a bad remake. And I don't want to sound like I'm trashing on it because I'm actually a big fan of Sergio. So I do like this film.
You know what? It might have been a good way to introduce movie audiences to Clint Eastwood, especially overseas who didn't know him from.
Yeah.
He was on a show over here. Was he on The Virginian? I forget what the show was.
I don't remember what show it was.
He was on, maybe it was Rawhide.
I think it actually was Rawhide. I think that's what it is.
So American audiences would have known him, but overseas, so maybe that was the point of just lifting the story to introduce him to a wider audience with something that they were familiar with.
Yeah, something they're familiar with, something more, they're like, hey, this will work out.
Yeah.
Because he does, branch out in the Man with No Name trilogy, because for a few dollars more, that's a cool Western. It's a cool story. And I don't know if he was inspired from something else with that one. He may have been, but it's a great story. And then by the time you get to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, that's a freaking masterpiece. That he evolved as not only a filmmaker, but definitely a Western filmmaker. A lot of people like discredit spaghetti Westerns. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. They're some of the best ones ever made. Like, Once Upon a Time in the West and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly are easily two of the best movies ever made, let alone Westerns. Like, they're both great.
So is that, and I'm thinking, like, do people discredit spaghetti Westerns because they don't believe that, like, a foreign filmmaker in a foreign country could create something authentic for, but why, if that's their vision, like, I'm thinking of, last week we were talking about George Lucas using Kurosawa to influence Star Wars, right?
Mm-hmm.
So by that token, you would have to say, well, he's not Japanese, so why is he taking these themes and these things and doing whatever with it?
Yeah, and I think it's just because of a lot of Americans are like, well, Westerns are an American art form, and only an American can really capture capture the landscape of America and what it's about. Which I'm like, dude, films are art.
Yeah,
we make art to imitate life of all types. So just because you're not necessarily 100% familiar with something or lived through it doesn't mean you haven't consumed enough content or done enough research on it to create something fake for an audience to enjoy.
Well, it seems also like, I was thinking about this watching Tombstone. I think Westerns are like romance movies for men. Because the idea of, like, that kind of lawlessness and being able to just do whatever probably seems romantic. Not like candlelight dinners and whatever kind of romance, but you know what I mean.
But for a man, it feels like freedom.
Yeah.
And it feels like,
and that's
God,
kind of
these guys could do whatever the hell they wanted.
Yeah, and that's kind of a romantic notion, that idea of freedom and that kind of, I guess, catharsis to be able to do what you want. And I mean, I'll just use Tombstone as an example. Like, look at how terrible Kurt Russell was. He sort of had a wife, a common law wife, and then dumped her for someone else.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? I'm like, wait, this isn't what? I mean, we'll talk about it probably eventually, but it did make me think, because then I had to watch Queen Charlotte with my wife, that show on Netflix. It was actually pretty good, I have to admit.
Okay.
But that's more of the feminine, female romance. Mm-hmm. So I realized, I'm like, oh, Westerns are really male centric. I can't think of any real female.
That's a great way to look at them.
Yeah, no,
because think about it. There's not many female-driven Westerns. Like,
maybe The Quick and the Dead with Sharon Stone, right?
Yeah, and Cat Ballou with Jane Fonda.
Yeah.
Which,
okay, that's two.
That's two of how many men-driven
Yeah.
westerns. Because I mean, even when you get into like rom-coms or what you would call more of a female-driven film, like you still have male leads and male-driven stories from
Yeah.
time to time. Obviously, the ones that chicks would rather see a reflection of themselves, which is understandable. But westerns are definitely a bro out genre that guys are like, yo, man, they always put themselves in the shoes of the cowboys. Man, if I was
Yeah.
around back then, I'd be doing this or doing that or whatever. Because I'm telling you, every time I watch The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, I'm like, yeah, I would have been rolling like Clint Eastwood, riding through town to town, doing some shady stuff, making bread, getting drunk, acting crazy.
I just realized, so The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, for a few dollars more, a Fistful, so that's like 64, 65, and 66,
Mm-hmm.
right? So would they have influenced then, like, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid? You know, like, how that would have been made.
What year was Butch Cassidy? 65?
69.
69. Oh, hell
Yeah,
yeah, then.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why I thought that was earlier. Yeah, definitely. Definitely would have influenced those. I mean, that was the height. Westerns were hot then.
Yeah,
60s,
yeah.
that was the time for Westerns. I mean, you had The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance in there. All the John Wayne movies coming out
Yeah.
were just going crazy. Like, but Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, one of the best Westerns ever made. I think that was definitely influenced by Sergio's style of making Westerns because it does, I won't say it doesn't necessarily rolls like a spaghetti Western, but the pacing of it feels like a spaghetti Western a little bit. So I definitely would say that was definitely inspired by it. But I think the characters, man, I think the characters in that the two characters in that movie just stand on their own as two of the most unique Western characters we've ever had. Because I can't think of anyone like them, and they fit together like yin and yang so perfectly. Like I can't think of any Western duo that works better than those two. And I think a lot of the action style and the cinematography and stuff was inspired by some of the spaghettis, but I think the story and the characters were kind of one of their own. Is this based off a novel or anything? I'm not sure.
I think it's actually based off of true events. I'm using air quotes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
These are real people, but
Yeah.
I'm sure they embellished.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But I think they're two of the coolest characters we've ever had in a Western. And of course, a lot of that contributes to Bobby Redford and Paul Newman.
Yeah.
They just worked so well together. They did so much together. So that comes out. And you got two of the best actors of their time. So they made those characters work really well. Man, they should have did it. I wish they could have did another Western like that. They did that one where they're like on that train gambling and killing people. I can't remember the name of it.
The Sting.
The Sting.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yes, that is a good one
too.
Same director, George Roy Hill.
Yeah.
Same director as Slapshot.
Slapshot is so freaking great.
Oh my God.
Guys, if you haven't seen Slapshot with Paul Newman, watch that ASAP. It's a hockey movie and it's good. Even if you don't like hockey or sports, you'll still like it. It's freaking hilarious.
And Paul Newman is just magic in it.
He's magic in everything.
Yeah, he is.
Even when he's old, bro.
Yeah, he's just amazing.
Color of Money, dude, is slicker than oil. I'm like, bro, how are you somehow like 80, but you're more handsome and slick than Tom Cruise, who's like 25? Like,
yeah,
crazy.
And that's a Scorsese film, right?
Yes, sir.
Man.
That's I'm like, man, I wonder how Scorsese felt working with Paul back then, because like, Scorsese would only been like maybe in his 30s, early 30s, and Paul was a legend by then.
And making a sequel.
Yeah.
Because that's sequel to The Hustler.
A legendary film.
Yes.
A legendary performance.
Yeah.
From not only Paul Newman, but
Jackie Gleason.
Yeah.
George C. Scott.
George C. Scott, man.
Yes.
Insane.
Incredible.
I think he turned his Oscar down for that movie.
Wow.
He turned all his Oscars down.
Really?
Yeah. He believed that film roles can't be compared one's better than the other because they're all different types of art form that take different approaches to make them work for whatever reason, which in a way he's right.
Yeah, he is. Exactly. Because I guess that's why, like, it doesn't make any sense if, like, the best director isn't necessarily the director of the best picture,
Yeah.
or the best actor isn't necessarily in the best picture.
movie. Yeah,
yeah.
Mhm. Like when Philip Seymour Hoffman won for Capote, that movie's okay, but his performance was probably the best performance out of all the nominees, even though all the other movies are likely better.
Yeah,
He killed that role.
he was a great actor.
He kills every role, man.
Yeah.
Did you see Synecdoche, New York?
I did not.
Bro, that movie's awesome. I wish that was streaming on something so I could recommend that to the people. But it's not, unfortunately. You should watch that. Charlie Kaufman, great writer and director. That movie's crazy. Anywho, but
Yeah, sorry.
Fistful of Dollars.
Yes.
I will say though, it does get some stuff right. As far as a Western movie, a classic Western, it works. If you like Western films, you will like the movie. But my same issue is, like, I watched The Magnificent Seven. It's a good film, but I'd rather watch The Seven Samurai because it's just done better, and it's hard to watch these movies without thinking about where they came from, and it's different. Like, and it's just like when people love certain books and novels, and then when they get adapted to the screen, they're like, oh, they're infuriated.
Yes.
And it's the same thing, just because it's two movies and one's not a book or a comic or anything, it's still the same thing. You're still taking something someone already has a built-in love for and giving them a different version of it, which they may hate. And you're already going to go into it with a bias because you're like, man, I just love this one so much. I don't know how you're going to top me.
Yeah. It's honestly like watching The Amazing Spider-Man after you've seen the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans.
Yeah.
Or even like when Tom Holland first took over. It's those types of things. Like, you already know what they've done with Spider-Man. So to see someone either try to do the same thing or try to do something different and maybe not succeed, it's heartbreaking and infuriating all at the same time.
Bro, I mean, look at all the Batman. You went through this through your whole teens and 20s.
Yes.
With dealing with the new Batman.
Yes.
And how they're going to F up one of your most beloved comic book characters.
Yes.
You've dealt with this multiple times. Like, who's going to fudge up Batman for me this year?
Yeah.
And it's still happening today. Like, when we went and saw the Batman,
yes,
we didn't know if Bobby Pattinson was gonna get the job done.
No,
he did.
Oh my god!
But I went in like, I don't know.
But then, as soon as he walked out in costume,
I was like, he's the man.
He's Batman.
I was like, he's him.
Yeah.
And then I loved his version of Bruce. I was like,
yeah,
he's playing that early young Bruce before swagged out Bruce. You know?
It's like emo Bruce.
Yeah, I'm like, and that's a good version for an actor like Robert Pattinson to play, because I think they stayed pretty nicely true to the source material while putting their nice little emo edge on it.
Yeah,
because the film does have this kind of I hate my life vibe to it, but it works. It works for that film, and it's a beautiful movie. The cinematography in The Batman is some of the best of 2022.
I just realized something. And this is, I don't know if this will make any sense, but I'm thinking about Yojimbo and Fistful of Dollars. We've talked before, I think, about Logan being like a modern Western.
Yeah, it's definitely a Western.
Is it sort of the same type as Yojimbo and Fistful of Dollars? Because he ends up, protecting those kids. He's fighting against all these.
Yeah, it's a very similar concept. I think you're onto something there, because in Logan, he don't want nothing to do with none of this.
No,
he's like, I'm trying to get drunk.
Yeah,
I'm trying to drive my freaking limo, Chrysler car, whatever it was.
Yeah,
deal with Professor X's crazy ass.
Yes,
and
deal with his spotted dick.
Yeah, and deal with the albino guy.
Yeah,
the vampire. He wasn't a vampire, but he couldn't go outside.
Yeah, Caliban.
Yeah, that was his name. Caliban.
Yeah, Caliban.
What actor was that? Was that the dude from
Stephen
Suicide
Merchant.
Squad?
No, Stephen Merchant. He
What was he
co-created
in?
The Office with Ricky Gervais.
Oh, and he played that role really well.
He did, because there was another actor playing him in, I think it was X-Men Apocalypse. He was a
Mm.
different, he was the same character, but a different actor.
I'm about to go on an X-Men run because
Yeah.
I've been wanting to watch X-Men First Class for like the last like 2 months. I want to watch it so bad, but I feel like I need to watch all of them in order.
Look, X-Men First Class is a great reboot. Matthew Vaughn did a great job, but this isn't going to be popular because of cancel culture. But Bryan Singer did a great job with his X-Men movies. X-Men, X2, Days of Future Past, and X-Men Apocalypse, I think are
remember
the
Days
best.
of Future Past. That was fire.
Oh my God, incredible.
I'm
Yeah.
about to run through them, man, because I've been wanting to watch First Class.
Well, your guy from Rush Hour, Brett Ratner, did X3 because
X3.
Bryan Singer left the X-Men franchise to do Superman Returns.
Oh yeah, which
Yes.
people hated.
It's a great film,
I'm
though.
like, Superman Returns wasn't bad. I do remember that
Yeah,
one.
Superman Returns. Look, Brandon Routh, like his first major role, other than like TV roles, he did a great job of continuing the Christopher Reeve version of Superman because he had the look, he had the demeanor. It was incredible. It's just they being like Bryan Singer and the writers made Metropolis more Art Deco than it was in the Donner movies.
Which is cool, though.
Yeah,
I
it's a
think
great design. Don't get me wrong.
You gotta do something different.
And look,
you know,
Kevin
shake it up.
Spacey as Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I was like, yes, he was Lex.
Look, all these people that do terrible things in their personal lives are still great
they're
actors.
still great actors.
They're still great
Kevin
directors.
Spacey's still one of the best.
It's like their jobs never suffered for whatever demons they were fighting outside of their work.
But I was actually thinking about that the other day because I was thinking about R. Kelly, and I was like,
Did you get pissed? I'm sorry.
I was like, through the midst of his whole like trials and all that, he made some of his best work during that time. I'm like, how do you do that? How can you separate your mind from all this crazy crap happening to you personally and just focus that well on your art? And some people are just able to do that really well. But
I guess you like compartmentalize things. So
yeah,
like,
I guess so.
This is this part of my brain and this is that part.
Yeah, like I'm gonna cut this trial. I'm going to jail for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
All my money stuff off, and I'm gonna focus on music.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, all the music I will make, like, I'm about to lose all my money.
Yeah.
I'm going to jail. Don't feel bad for me because it's my own fault. But yeah. Now R. Kelly's a freak. Like, he's crazy.
But
he was talented
as an artist, though. Like,
he's one of the best R&B singers of all time.
If you can separate like the artists from the art, just see what they did. Like, if we knew everyone's personal lives, everybody.
Everyone's a villain.
Yeah, everyone would be canceled.
Yeah, like everyone.
Oh my God, you're terrible.
It's like, what
you ran over that squirrel?
Yeah,
you're terrible.
And you didn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, I do think Logan does have some tropes from Yojimbo and Fistful because he don't want nothing to do with it. Now, the difference is he didn't place himself in the situation. He kind of got dragged in. But once he was in, he was all about it. I mean, he risked his own life. He went hard for them kids, and he felt a soft spot, especially for the little girl, and she was, how could you not fall in love with her? She was going so hard, bro. I was like, bro, this little girl is going crazy.
Yeah.
I was like,
God, what a
Logan
great movie.
was so great. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, God, Logan was so good. That's one of the best Marvel movies in the last 10, easy. It's just that and Deadpool were just done correctly, and I just wish they would get back to that. Like, they own Fox now, right?
Yeah, Disney does. So I'm not sure how they're gonna screw it up because
but it's coming.
Yeah, because look, I will say this, like, spoiler free, Guardians Volume 3 is more like the older Marvel films because like Endgame era, but because it was written then.
Yeah.
Because that's when James Gunn wrote it. So it's not like really in the newer continuity kind of thing.
I'm not mad about that.
Yeah. So So if you look at that as like a touchstone of like, well, they're not all bad. Yeah, but that should have come out 3 years ago.
Yep. Yeah.
So it was written probably 5 years ago, because volume 2 came out in 2017.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn. That's
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, you can't we go back to Quantumania, which, believe it or not, and it sounds terrible because I love the Ant-Man movies.
Mm-hmm.
I love them.
First two are great.
But I think I would have rather have watched Morbius again.
The thing with Morbius is Morbius offered us something we haven't seen, at least.
You know what? You're right. It wasn't trying to rehash anything.
It didn't feel like anything else.
Yeah.
It felt like a version of what it was trying to be, not done very well.
Yeah.
But I can always respect somebody who is trying to make something new. Like I said, my main issue with Morbius is I'm telling you right now, if they would have did better CGI and visual effects, that movie would be a lot better and a lot less of a joke. Because there's things in it to admire and like.
If they would have added, or maybe kept in, I don't know how much they cut, but if another 20, 25 minutes just to add to the story, so things would have made sense.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff they could have. Yeah, because what was it, about an hour and 50, 2 hours?
I think it was less, maybe an hour and a half.
Maybe an hour and a half. They could have made it a 2-hour boy and just fleshed it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
And
maybe 100 minutes, if that.
Yeah, maybe. And I think we could have got some more action scenes from Jared Leto. But
yeah, because he was all in.
He was all in.
So was Matt Smith.
Yeah.
Matt Smith was actually good as the villain.
Yeah, I'm like, the leads committed.
Yeah, they did.
And I respect him for that. And I'm like, listen, everybody's gonna have a bad movie. Jared Leto's still one of the best actors of our time.
Yeah.
Morbius doesn't because he was bad as Morbius and people didn't like his Joker doesn't mean he sucks.
Yeah.
He still freaking was in Dallas Buyers Club. Like
House of Gucci is incredible.
Gucci. I have to watch that. That's been on my list for months.
He is unrecognizable. It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I know it's on Prime.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll watch that next week because I love Adam Driver. I love Gaga.
Oh, yeah.
I love Al Pacino. I love.
Oh my, yeah, all your favorites are in it.
Like tons of dudes.
I think Ridley Scott directed it.
Ridley Scott.
Yeah,
man.
An incredible film.
Yeah,
believe it or not.
I heard he's about to do a Napoleon movie.
Ridley Scott. Really?
Yep.
Wow.
He loves his period pieces.
I bet it's going to be dynamite.
It is good.
Napoleon
it's
Dynamite.
It's going to be Napoleon Dynamite. Great film, but
yeah.
But to wrap up this, what in comparing these films, obviously Leone got sued, and I can't say that I'm mad at Kurosawa for doing it, and I can't say that he maybe didn't deserve to get sued, but I do think that art is always going to be imitated. We imitate what we appreciate. All your favorite artists, musicians, filmmakers, actors, painters, writers, they all have influence. They've all stolen stuff from each other. Excuse me. But you got to steal it subtly. you can't just take it. You can't take the girl, take her blonde hair and dye it brown and call it a different girl. It's the same girl still. So that's what Leone did. He took the girl and he just changed her hair color and shoes. And it's not that the girl still wasn't pretty. We just felt like we been with this chick before.
Yeah.
So we wanted to get with a new chick.
It was our own sloppy seconds.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
It was our own sloppy seconds. So that was the best one.
Terrible analogy, but still.
It's a terrible analogy, but I think you understand what we're saying here. But I mean, I would still give Fistful of Dollars. I would still give it a B plus, as a grade of a film.
Oh yeah.
Yojimbo gets a solid A.
Yeah,
but,
if not an A plus.
Yeah, if not an A plus. I mean, I think we have to give it an A plus just for the influence alone.
Yeah, and even Fistful, no matter what we might think about it because of Yojimbo, it probably influenced more than Yojimbo.
Oh, yeah.
Just because of the reach it had farther than Yojimbo.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, Fistful, bro. I know tons of people who are like, Fistful of Dollars is in my top 5 favorite Westerns. Tons of people. And I say to them, same people, I feel you. I'd just rather watch Yojimbo.
I
But those people haven't seen Yojimbo.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And if you don't know, you don't know.
You don't know until you learn.
And honestly, that scene at the end with the, I'll just call it the bulletproof vest with air quotes. That is a great scene, honestly.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
Especially before you realize what it is as an audience. You're like, oh, snap. Oh, he's getting shot. And you're all worried. And you're like, oh, Clint, no.
Yeah. And he's wearing that poncho.
The poncho. The classic green poncho.
Yeah,
so
the iconic poncho.
Man. Dude, when he's wearing it in the good and the bad, though, it's the money shot, dude.
I haven't seen those in decades. I have to watch them.
Dude,
but a few dollars more and the good, the bad, and the ugly.
We might have to just have like a Western episode and just cover like the main classics, maybe the good and the bad. We'll cover the good, the bad. We'll do Tombstone.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do the Searchers, man. We have to have a John Wayne one.
Okay.
So we got a Clint one, we got a John Wayne one, and a John Ford as far as direction, and Sergio.
Do you want to do those 3 for next week?
Yeah, we could do those. Oh, gosh. That gives me an excuse to watch The Searchers again. No problem. I freaking
The Searchers, is that the one with Jeffrey Hunter? Or where he plays like a Native American?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I love Jeffrey Hunter as an actor.
He's great.
He's incredible.
Great in that film.
He was the original captain on Star Trek in the first pilot episode.
Really?
Captain
I didn't
Pike.
know that.
Yeah.
He was a handsome guy, man.
Yeah, he was a good actor too.
Yeah, he was good. Dude, he's great in The Searchers. Him and John Wayne's back and forth is awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. So guys, yeah, I'm not saying personally that I have a problem with remakes or I think people shouldn't remake them. I think inspiration is very important. We all get inspired by something. Every now and then somebody's got an original idea, but everyone's ran out of them at this point. Look at Hollywood, guys. So
yeah, that's true.
So inspiration's good. I think Sergio, he did a good job. He's one of the best directors. And, guys, look at Tarantino. Tarantino borrows stuff from all kinds of crap. There's tons of guys who like Tarantino. You also love a ton of great Japanese directors and writers, all right? And a ton of Italian filmmakers as well, guys. You also would like them too. So that's all I got to say on it. 2 great films. Nice to sit them side by side and really see how similar they really are, because they are very, guys. Check them out if you haven't. What you got to say, Jamie?
I think the Bare Naked Ladies said it best in the song 1 Week.
Oh, yeah, and they're talking about Kurosawa.
Yeah, they say, like, Kurosawa, I make mad films. K, I don't make films, but if I did, they'd have a samurai.
Have a samurai. That's what they say.
I think that's all you can say, right?
Such a good song. It's been 1 week since you looked at me. And you know what's funny? I just heard that song because I was watching the first American Pie. And it's on in there. And I was like, they totally talk about Kurosawa in this song. And then he said it, and I was like, yeah, I was right. I was like, I wasn't imagining that.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have to have a high school.
Yeah, American Pie is a great film.
Great film. Yeah. And it's what bothers me, cancel culture real quick.
Yeah.
People are saying, dude, that movie, they're like, that movie didn't age well.
It's not supposed to.
Yeah, I'm like, bro,
they're about teenagers
of the time. Yeah, it's reflective of teenagers and the time period of said teenagers.
Yeah, like the late 90s. Like that's
the stuff they say in there. Everyone said that back then, guys. It is what it is.
Yeah, because I graduated high school around that time. Yeah. That's why I love that movie.
Dude, I envy you so much because, like, I always was like, bro, I was born 10 years too late. Like, bro, if I could have, like, been, like, a teen through the 90s, would have been the best. Being a teen in the 2000s was whack. It's like, y'all got way better stuff. You were what, like 17 in 1999?
Me? I was, believe it or not, I was actually 21.
21 in 99, bro. That's the perfect age to be 21.
Yeah.
Perfect year, dude.
Yeah.
So much good content was coming out.
Yeah.
The world was changing in a cool, interesting, new way. Dude, that was perfect. I mean, you don't drink and party,
No,
but if
no.
you did,
Yeah.
you would have partied like it's 1999.
2000. Party
Yes.
over. Oops, out of
Out
time.
of time, baby. But guys, I'm Dom,
I'm Jamie.
and thank you for watching the cutting room floor.